Welcome to the Media Unrestricted podcast. I'm Chase,
And I'm Dylan.
and we got a loaded show for you this week with all these news coming out on just the first week of February. And let's wait no further and get right into it all. Netflix, they came out with a preview showing all their upcoming films for this year. And the big one I'm pointing out, I think a lot of people are pointing out, is the Knives Out 2. Knives Out 2 sees the return of Daniel Craig as Detective Benoit Blanc, the gentleman detective with a southern drawl who won over audience with his unique approach to the solving mysteries in the sequel. In the sequel, Craig is joined by an all-new cast in Knives Out 2 that includes Dave Bautista, Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Catherine Hahn, uh, Lee's, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, Ethan Hawke, just to name a few. Um, Little is known about the plot or anything, what's going on, but it is set to take place in the Greece, and I think it's like on a boat because that's what you see in the preview. So I mean, Knives Out, the first one, is an absolute fantastic movie. I love that movie so much. This is going on also from Screen Rant. This came from the about the 2 minute and 33 second of this about preview. It's about 3 minutes, but all this preview did show, not a lot, but it just showed like on like a boat, kind of like going to where the ramp is. It showed from left to right, Craig, Hahn, Henwick, Hudson, Odom Jr., Klein, and Batista. Knives Out 2 is expected to release in fall of 2022. I believe it is Netflix's biggest kind of movie for them to release. It will also release theatrically, which I believe is the way to see it, not on Netflix, just be after for sure. But I am super excited to see what they do with Knives Out 2. I hope they knock it out of the park like they did with the first one. Because I mean, Daniel Craig, he's fantastic as Bond, and but he really stole the show and Knives Out and just kept it so interesting. But like I said, the cast you have is so fantastic as well. The first one did it so well, and this one is even just as good. So I just can't wait to see the full trailer when it releases, probably sometime this summer. So expect it. More news from Knives Out, and they also gave us a look at the new Ryan Reynolds movie, The Adam Project. Day Shift with Jamie Foxx, which looks really cool. Kind of something a little different for Jamie Foxx for sure, because he's like battling monster, like I don't know, vampires or something. It looks really cool. And it showed a movie that has Jason Momoa, kind of like looks like a, I don't know what he is. It's kind of weird looking. But just check out this preview for all of that stuff. If you care about any of those other Netflix releases. Yeah, Dylan, did you get to see this preview? What do you think of some of those other releases? And what do you think of Knives Out 2, man? Are you a fan of the first one?
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see where they go with Knives Out 2 because the first Knives Out was an absolutely incredible movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. I think Ryan Johnson still gets a little too much flack for what he did with The Last Jedi, but it is what it is. Like I said, the original Knives Out was a great movie, and I know for sure Knives Out 2 is going to be a great movie because every single, like, the first movie had a great cast, and this one also has a great cast. And a great cast of great actors in a movie with a great director, it's going to be great. So I have a feeling Knives Out 2 is probably going to be like a lot of it's going to probably get a lot of Oscar nominations, probably for best actors, supporting actors. It's probably going to get a best picture nomination, just like all of that stuff. So I'm pretty excited for Knives Out 2, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
And moving on to some more Sony news, actually. Um, Dakota Johnson is in talks of playing Madam Web in Spider-Man spinoff. I've seen a lot of things that saying this is already confirmed. It is not. She's just in the talks right now, so I don't believe we have got the role yet. But she will play, if she gets it, Madam Web, which is kind of a she is a blind, um, paralyzed, um, like mutant kind of person. I remember her more from the Spider-Man animated series. Um, she's kept alive by a life support, like in the shape of a spider web that she always sits on. I said I definitely remember from the Spider-Man animated series more than the comics and everything. But Deadline had to say um, that Dakota Johnson was in the talks as Madam Web as part of Spider-Man's universe that Sony is planning. Sources report that the female-led property has been a high priority for the studio since announcing it's in development, but have wanted to take their time developing. The executives have reportedly been meeting with various A-listers for the past few months, and that Johnson gained frontrunner status just before the end of the year. There's no release date on this movie or anything. Um, this is still developing news, so we'll have more news on this for sure. Dakota Johnson is, mostly always known from the 50 Shades of Grey movies, which are, I've seen all of them, sadly, but I really think people shit on her for that. But do I think she's a good pick? Yes and no, because she kind of in the face resembles kind of what Madam Web would look like, but Madam Web is also an older woman, so I'm not sure how they're gonna play that. Maybe in the comics, maybe when she started, she wasn't as old. I don't know how this is gonna work, but she was in a movie called Peanut Butter Falcon, which is a has Shia LaBeouf, and it's kind of like where this kid wants to become a wrestler. Um, it's really a kind of a lower budget kind of like film, but it's a very very good film, and she's very good in that as well. But I don't know how I really feel about this right now. I think I need to learn more about the Madam Web character before I make a big choice on this one. But Dylan, what did you think of maybe Dakota Johnson being Madam Web? Do you know anything about this character? And what are your thoughts?
I honestly don't know if I have an opinion on this. Madam Web to me is a character that I've seen, like New Rock Stars to me whenever, or New Rock Stars explain her as like the woman who's sitting at like the part of the multiverse where all of the Spider-Man, like all the Spider-Men intersect, because from Madam Web and like the webs that come out of where she is where the stories of all the Spider-Men come from, I think. And like where all their powers come from and everything. I think. Don't take that. Don't. I think I heard that somewhere. New rock stars. I think I can't remember, but pretty sure that's who Madam Web is that I know of, and I don't know how they would adapt that to a movie. But she was in the 50 Shades movies. I never saw those, so I don't know how good of an actress she is, but I'll give her a shot. If they're going for a younger Madam Web, then why not give it a shot? You know, I know everybody knows Madam Web as the older lady, but you never know how she's going to be until we actually see it in live action.
And moving on to the Moonfall reviews. I just want to break down the reviews for this movie. This movie comes out this week. At first, when I saw the trailer for Moonfall, it was an IMAX. I was kind of interested. It looked like it was kind of be a good disaster, kind of cheesy, fun movie. But then I saw another trailer. I think I guess it'd be the official trailer. I think when I saw Spider-Man in regular theater, and it didn't blow me away as much as the other one did. And the reviews are really showing that this movie is going to be, I think, what a lot of people expected. But these are all coming from Rotten Tomatoes. This is from their top critics. I'm just going to read a few off for you. This is coming from Vanity Fair. Richard Lawson. The grim fact of Moonfall is that it's an awful boring, a lifeless, of confusing CGI and packed characters we barely know. Joe Morgenstern from the Wall Street Journal. The film is less like a full-fledged story than a series of notifications you might get on your phone. Most of them couched in language that could have been generated by a buggy AI program. David Fear from the Rolling Stone had to say, recommending that someone actually subject themselves to Roland Emmerich's sci-fi neo-disaster flick. However, it is a little like shoving 3-month-old milk under an unexpected person's nose and inquiring, does this smell okay? Brian Lowry from CNN.com. While some might find it possible to have fun by surrendering to the silliness, this bad moon doesn't quite rise even to the level of guilty pleasure. Let's see if I can get a couple more here. Actually, let's get a positive one here. The Los Angeles Times, Justin Chang, the particular moon is made of present B movie cheese. So not much on that one. Variety here, Peter Dubredge. Sure, Moonfall is all kinds of stupid, but I had a blast and would gladly settle up for a second viewing. One more bad review here for the New York Times. Ben Kingsbury, excuse me, from the director Roland Emmerich, who treats the planet to potential life-ending charismatics with the regularity of dental checkups. It's not much new under the sun. So those are just a few Moonfall reviews. Some, just a couple good bad ones I read to you. A few bad, and a lot of bad ones though. I think this movie is a movie you definitely go, you turn your brain off and try to have a good time with. But this is also from Roland Emmerich, who is a director that is always making things blow up. Something stupid. I mean, he did make Godzilla 1998, which is, as a Godzilla movie, it has problems. But if you treat it as just a monster movie, it's so much fun, and I like it as that. He also made Independence Day, which is good. It's not bad. I do like the first one, and I thought the second one wasn't too bad either. But again, a movie you gotta turn your brain off and have a good time with. And I believe he made Stargate. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember. But I mean, some of this cast is alright. Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson. I just don't think it's a movie I gotta go see the theater, so that's for sure. It'd be one I'd wait till it comes out to video, and I'd maybe get it at Redbox or something if I had it for free or something. So I do not plan on seeing Moonfall in the theaters unless something would magically change. But Dylan, after hearing some of these reviews, what do you think about Moonfall in general? Because I swore I heard that you were kind of the same way. That first trailer we saw looked like it might have been like okay, kind of disaster film, but now not so much.
The Moonfall reviews don't surprise me one bit. Like you said, the first trailer made it look really good because it made it look like another disaster movie. Like the moon is falling to Earth and they need to figure out how they're going to, put it back or like fix the situation, which, in real life, you would never be able to fix that situation. The moon is falling to Earth. We'd all be fucked. But the second trailer turned it into some weird sci-fi alien story where the moon has like a living being inside of it or something, and it just ruined the whole vibe of the movie. So yeah, I agree with you. The second trailer destroyed whatever hope I had for the movie because the first trailer made it look kind of dope. But these reviews don't surprise me at all. Th- Based on the second trailer, you could tell it was going to be shit, and the reviews do say it is shit. So for the most part, it's obviously shit, and we knew it would be shit. I'm probably gonna check it out just to see how it is, and maybe give my review on the next episode. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So keep an eye out for that possibly next week. If not, whatever. I just don't know. That second trailer really zapped any hope I have for this movie, and these reviews aren't helpful either.
And moving on with more Patrick Wilson news, Insidious 5 to start filming in the spring. Patrick Wilson actually confirmed Insidious 5 is on track to begin shooting this year. Insidious, which came out in 2010, featured a family being tormented by a demon from a sideways dimension known as the Further. I actually really thought the first Insidious was really, really good. It doesn't hold up as much now as it did back then, but it was a good movie. And the second one also was pretty good as well. Um, the third one I don't remember too well, and I never watched after that. But this is also coming from Screen Rant, which is most of where my articles do come from. This is from an interview. Ash Coulson, or Crossan, excuse me. While promoting Moonfall, Wilson shared an update on Insidious 5 development. When asked if the horror sequel was moving forward, Wilson said, "Yeah, we are," and mentioned filming starts shooting in the spring. Wilson also shared his thoughts on Insidious 5 being his directorial debut, because this is actually his first one, because usually they're directed by James Wan, so they're going with a little bit different change here. But here's what Wilson had to say. "It's something that I'm super passionate about, and there hasn't been a day since they pitched me the idea that I hadn't been all in. It's been a lot of work by Scott Teems, the writer, and me, and Leah Whannell has been out obviously a ton, and of course Blumhouse is a great partner. I've done a bunch of stuff with them, so I couldn't be happier to have my first experience with a very helpful and comfortable group of people that for some reason trust me. So we'll see." Um, that's what Wilson had to say. This movie is supposed to release sometime this year. No official release date. I got a feeling it might get pushed to 2023. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. It's depending how filming goes and everything. But Dylan, are you a fan of the Insidious franchise, and what do you think?
I honestly don't have an opinion on this. On If I'm being honest, I haven't seen an Insidious movie since the second one. I can't remember which one. It's the one when the old lady dies and then she's a ghost in it. I think that might be number two because she died at the end of the first one, and number two I think picks up at the end of the second one, or at the end, number two picks up at the end of the first one. I mean, so I think I've only seen the first and second one, and they're about to film number five. Because from what I remember, I think the third one was called The Last Key, and I never saw that because it looked stupid. And then I don't know what Insidious 4 is about. I think it's a super prequel of the lady doing other ghost stuff. But I've only seen one and two. I don't necessarily have a strong opinion on it. I just hope it's not stupid like the third one was. Because that third one looked really dumb. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on this. I don't really have an opinion if I'm being honest.
Moving on to more horror news, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, remake, whatever you want to call this, new trailer was released just beginning of this week, and it unveils the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Actually, this will be a 1974 reboot, so they are following in the Halloween footsteps with what they did. Um, Kind of actually, this is more or less a copy off of it, but anyways, because this brings will bring moneymaker Melody as she moves to the remote town in the southern state with her teenage sister and friends in an effort to open a new business in a small town, only to accidentally disrupt Leatherface's home and draw his ire. as he targets the group. Locally resident Sally Hardis elects to come out of hiding in effort to revenge for the massacre that started it all. Yeah, Sally was in the 1974. She was the lone survivor. So like I said, they are definitely following Halloween's footsteps and more or less redoing the same thing. But I'm not gonna lie, this trailer was actually pretty decent. Uh, I don't think this movie's still gonna be fantastic by any means. Um, but I was actually fairly surprised how much this trailer kind of was like, okay, I'll watch it. Definitely the last, couple seconds. Um, it's like Leatherface goes on this bus and starts massacring everyone. Um, that was a really really cool scene, and I'm like that because like yeah, I'm in. I'm totally down to check this out. Film releases on Netflix February 18th, so just in a couple weeks. Um, I don't have Netflix right now at the moment, but I think I will definitely add it to my subscriptions because I gotta check this movie out and review it for you. So, Dylan, did you have a chance to check out this trailer? What did you think of this trailer? And will you sometime see this movie?
Dude, that Texas Chainsaw trailer was awesome, wasn't it? Like like you said, I'm sure the movie won't be that great, but they did a really good job on this trailer. I'm still kind of confused about some things. Like from what it looks like in the trailer, their house is in the middle of that town, but yet in the original show, their house was out in the middle of nowhere. So are they saying that they built a town around their house? I'm just confused about that because that town looks older than 40 years old. You know what I mean? Like that town looks like it was made probably like the 30s or 40s, but yet that town looks like it's been around the house for a long time. But in the original movie, there was nothing around that house from what I remember. So I'm just confused about all that stuff. But one of my absolute favorite scenes in the trailer was when that party bus comes around. He gets on it, and then they all put up their phones, and that Asian guy's like, "You try anything, you're canceled, bro." And then he's like, "Oh shit!" And then all of a sudden, he just goes through a slaughtering spree and slaughters everybody on that party bus. And I just think that was one of the coolest visuals in that whole trailer. Because I think there's also another part in the trailer where you see hands, like bloody hands on the windows, and then like the girls are outside screaming or something. Like I think that's right after that or right or during that, which is such a crazy scene to think about. And if we have more shots like that throughout the movie might actually be decent. Although, like you said, it probably will be shit, but you never know. Got to give it a try first before we know. And I just can't wait to see what they have going for it.
And keeping it in horror, kind of the big news yesterday that I saw a lot on my Facebook walls. Scream 6 on the way. Paramount and Spyglass Media are officially moving forward with Scream 6 and is planning to begin filming the horror sequel this summer. The new Scream, hailing from Ready or Not group Radio Silence, has been a critical and commercial success since its release in January and appears to be only just the beginning. Uh, Less than a month after hitting theaters, Paramount and Spyglass have announced that Scream 6 is officially happening. The new installment will once again be helmed by Radio Silence's Matt Bettinelli and Galenet, on a script from returning duo James Villeneuve and Guy Busick, with production slated to begin just this summer. Paramount and Spyglass wrote about the announcement, saying that we are tremendously grateful to the fans around the world who enthusiastically received our film, and we can't wait for audience to see what Radio Silence writers Jamie and Guy and Project X have in store for our Woodsboro family. While the writers noted that they didn't set a plan for sequels, the latest chapter in the Scream franchise did carve a path for the new characters for Scream 6, given the film's critical and financial success, having outgrown Scream's force with over 107 million in less than a month. It makes sense Paramount and Spyglass are looking to capitalize on renewal interest in the series with another installment, though the planned summer shoot schedule does point towards these plans have been in the works prior to the film's release. That all came from Screen Rant, but this is such great news to hear as a big Scream fan as I am. And I had a feeling that they were already on Scream 6. They kind of were just, they knew that this was going to be such a success with how great people received the trailers and everything. Um, I'm so glad we're going to get more Scream. And like I said, in that one video we did kind of about the killer, like who's going to be the killer and all that stuff, that video, which if you still haven't checked that out, please check it out. It's definitely worth your time. But anyways, we said at the end of that video, if you want a Scream sequel, go out, support the film so we can get it. And thanks to everybody, we're going to get that sequel. We're not going to have to wait 10 years, 20 years. We're just going to have to wait maybe probably just a couple years, maybe. And this is awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do. And I just can't wait to discuss more Scream stuff because I plan on doing the same thing we did for 5. Videos planning on who's the killer, who's going to make it out, and all that great stuff as we get closer. But Dylan, hearing all this stuff about Scream 6 going to be coming out soon, what do you think, man?
Yeah, Scream, this past Scream 2022, Scream 5 Scream, whatever you want to call it. It was, to me, one of the best Scream movies in the franchise. I think whenever we saw it, got out of the theater and saw it in our out of theater review, I may have said it's the second best Scream movie behind the original, and I do still hold to that. I haven't seen it since our first viewing, but I still remember fondly back on that movie and love. I still love it, and I do think it's the second best. I can't, I was so happy to see this news because I wanted so much to have a Scream 6, mainly because I knew Scream 5 was going to do well. There were too many people talking about it and it had too much hype around it for it not to do well. And the fact that critics and fans both like it just made me happy because an actually good Scream movie that critics and fans both like that actually made money, like I don't know. Like horror movies nowadays, they do make a lot of money, but they're not critically received for the most part. And that's really an anomaly. And I think it really has to do with the people they had attached to it. Radio Silence and all those people. They're masterful at what they do, and I just can't wait to see what they do with Scream 6. I'm still holding out hope that Scream 6 might bring back Stu. I'm holding out hope, but it's thinning by the day pretty much. But I don't think Scream 6 really needs Sydney and Gale. It probably will bring them back, but it really doesn't need them. It'd just be interesting to see what they do with more new characters.
And our last movie topic goes to, I guess you can call it movies. Amazon Prime prices set to go up. This is actually coming from CNN. Amazon is raising the prices of its annual Prime subscription from $119 to $139 per year in the United States. And they also announced that the monthly subscription will go from $12.99 to $14.99. The company is saying it is increasing the price because of extended Prime membership benefits, such as the added Prime video content and expanded free day shipping, as well as the raising costs of labor and transportation in its distribution networks. I do not have Amazon Prime at the moment, but they do have a lot of good content. It's just I don't know if it's worth $14.99 though. $12.99, yes, but $14.99, I don't know. I mean, you do get a lot of good benefits with that and everything, so I guess it is still worth it. But I guess, like I said, I don't have Amazon Prime, so I really have no thoughts on this for right now. But Dylan, what do you think?
I have Amazon Prime, and I might cancel it after this. Um, them saying that they need to raise the prices because the cost of labor is going up and all this other shit. It's bullshit, dude. Like it's 100% bullshit. I'm not trying to get political or anything, but I think I might have to, okay? They have a fucking CEO who's one of the richest men in the world who makes hundreds of billions of dollars who is paying to tear down a historic 100-year-old bridge in the Netherlands so he can fucking drive his multi-$100 million yacht like through that area in the Netherlands. Like, Jeff Bezos is a fucking clown, okay? And the fact that they think that they need to raise the prices of their services just because their workers want to get paid more is fucking absurd. Like, they have more than enough money. He makes more than enough money to be able to pay his workers a decent wage. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're blaming the cost of workers and the cost of stuff going up on raising prices on everything. It's absolutely absurd. They don't. It's absolutely absurd. Like I keep saying, it's ridiculous. They don't need to do it. Their CEO makes billions of dollars every year. It's fucking stupid. Amazon can this is a meme I saw. Amazon can go suck a caterpillar dick. I don't care. It's just awful. Okay. Now, one of the saving graces for Amazon for me that is keeping me on there is their 2 day shipping and the Amazon Prime show Invincible, because I haven't heard anything from Amazon or anything in the news about an Invincible season 2. So I'm waiting on news for that, but I might just have to cancel my Amazon Prime until Invincible season 2 gets a release date, because then I might do it, load it back up so I can watch that.
And moving on to TV show news, the Halo uh, first trailer was released Sunday during, I think it was the AFC football game. Um, the teaser for the upcoming trailer showed the best look at Master Chief, which he looks fantastic. Um, but the story of the game wise, I don't think it's the show wise. Says Master Chief, who engaged in combat with an alien menace known as the Covenant. Um, the plotline for the show is separate from the games, showing a different side of Master Chief. This is a Disney Plus show that is expected to release in 2022. No release date confirmed yet on this. But from this trailer, I mean, I thought it was alright. I don't really know a lot about Halo. I've just played it a few times over with friends and stuff. But I kind of was looking at the comments on the video. It didn't seem like a lot of people were kind of liking it. But like I said, I'm really not a big Halo fan, so I don't know what's good, what's bad. I just know Master Chief, and he looked good. But Dylan, you're a bigger Halo fan than me. What did you think of this trailer? Do you think it's going to be any good? And kind of let me learn a little bit about Halo.
Yeah, so the lore of the Halo games is pretty complex. Where they start out is pretty much that there is an ancient group of beings called the Precursors, and what they were, I think, were considered basically the creators of the galaxy. Um, and they created a bunch of things. They created the a race known as the Forerunners, who are considered a tier 1 species. Um, they're over 100,000 years old in the Halo franchise. Um, they thought of themselves as having the mantle of responsibility, and they thought that was passed down to them by the precursors. And they often thought that a more powerful race would um, or excuse me. And what happened was that they were disappearing and nobody really knew why. And what happened was, before they completely disappeared from the galaxy, the group known as those Forerunners identified humanity as their successors and identified them with the title of Reclaimer. Now, in the Halo series, Master Chief is often called the Reclaimer by 343 Guilty Spark. And what that means is, like it says, they're the successors to the Forerunners. And so the people, or the race of aliens known as the Covenant, they are not the race. That's not the race. They're an empire, basically, of a bunch of different races, like the Sangheili and the Ungoi and hunters and brutes and like all of them, and they see the Forerunners as gods. And so they deem anyone who like tries to defile any Forerunner structures as heretics, and that's why they're in a war with humanity, because they think humans are heretics trying to deface and defile the Forerunners, like artifacts and like all of their structures and everything, and that's where basically all of the war and stuff in the Halo franchise comes from. And that's pretty much where I think the series might go. Sorry for that long-winded explanation, but that's pretty much what I know about Halo from playing the game since 2001 and being brushed up on the lore for all these years. There's obviously a lot more in depth than that, but that's just like what's on the surface. The show looks like it might go a little bit into that. The show looks fantastic. I loved the trailer. I can't wait to see where they go with it. Cortana to me looks great, voiced by Jen Taylor, the original voice of Cortana in the games. Master Chief is not voiced by Steve Downes, which is a little depressed, which kind of sucks. But then again, also the voice form isn't that bad either. So I honestly can't wait to see what they do with the show and to see where they go with it.
And I didn't get a chance to watch the Book of Boba Fett newest episode. I was kind of thinking I'm going to wait till we finally reach the end of the show and then I'll just binge watch it. But I did see all the cameos that were appeared in this episode. A lot of great faces, such as Luke and Grogu. Great to see them. And a villain from the Clone Wars. I can't remember what his name is, but I know everybody was looking forward to seeing him. I think some of them say he didn't look that good, but I'm not sure. I know the season finale is set for next week. So, Dylan, Book of Boba Fett, man, what did you think?
Ah, yes, the Book of Boba Fett. That episode was absolutely fantastic. Episode 6. Um, was it episode 6 or episode 7? I can't remember, but whichever episode it was the newest one that came out on um that came out this past Wednesday. I think it was like the 3rd or the 4th. I was so happy with it, man. Was it the third, second maybe? I don't know. But anyways, we got the introduction of Luke's Jedi Academy that was destroyed in the Last Jedi. For everyone who remembers that, it's they're starting to build that up, and you can see the resemblance with the cones in the building structure. But we got to see Grogu's Jedi training with Luke, and it was fantastic. We got some Easter eggs to Luke's training with Yoda on Dagobah from the original trilogy. Um, Ahsoka came back, and a lot of people say she didn't really have a reason to be in this episode. I kind of agree, but it was just nice to see her again and to get some dialogue between her and Luke. That's so cool. We got her mentioning Anakin, not by name, but she said, "You're acting more and more like your father every day." And some fans were like, "Uh oh," but no, obviously it's her referencing like how how he was obviously when he was nice. But um, at the end of the episode, Luke told Grogu that he had a choice to make. He could either take the Grogu sized chainmail armor and go back to the Mandalorian, or he could accept Yoda's lightsaber. Yes, Luke has Yoda's lightsaber, which rewrites a story from the Darth Vader comic books in which they destroy Yoda's lightsaber shortly after Order 66. So Luke gives Grogu a choice. He can take Yoda's lightsaber and choose the path of the Jedi, or he can take the Mandalorian armor and go back to Din Djarin the Mandalorian and forsake the way of the Jedi. And then that's where the episode cuts off. But before that, we get an appearance of none other than Cad fucking Bane from the Clone Wars TV show and the Bad Batch TV show. And it was him versus Cobb Vanth and his deputy. And a lot of people think Cobb Vanth might be dead, but I saw everyone was pointing out that he got winged, he got shot in the shoulder, and you can see that on multiple rewatches. He got shot in the shoulder, so I think he is still alive. He's gonna go back to Din Djarin and let them and Boba Fett know that he's in town and that all that happened to him, and then that's gonna awaken something in Boba Fett. He's gonna recognize him from his past, and many people don't know, but there's a dent on Boba's helmet that he never fixed, and that is from during an unfinished episode that was never finished or released of the Clone Wars TV show. Boba Fett and Cad Bane get into a shootout and they shoot each other. Boba gets that dent in his helmet from that gunfight. And some people are thinking that maybe in the next episode they're going to end up canonizing that fight and possibly maybe even show us that fight in some capacity, which would be really cool if they could do that and then canonize that fight. I would love to see that. Um but yeah, man, this episode was great. I can't wait to see what they do with the finale episode cuz that's when everything's going to hit, when all the shit's going to hit the fan, especially after the Pikes blew up that club that Boba was overseeing and was supposed to be protecting. So shit's gonna hit the fan next episode, and I can't wait to see what they do with it at all. It's gonna be so fucking cool.
And moving on to the greatest show in the world right now, Peacemaker, episode 6 thoughts. I love this episode so much, and it became my new favorite episode of the season. This show just keeps getting better and shows that James Gunn should do more DC Universe stuff. Because James Gunn is absolutely killing this, man. He is doing so well. And I can't wait to actually see what that other project they're working on. But they make 40-minute episodes, are so entertaining, funny, and really gets you emotional at times. Kind of, there's a moment in this episode where John Cena plays the piano, Home Sweet Home on the piano, for about like a little over a minute or so. That's all he's doing, just playing the piano. But you can really see what's going on in his mind and everything. It's really emotional, and they really just pack it at times. It had moments also in this episode that feel like another James Gunn film that is very, very not talked about much, but so good. Slither, which you have not, if you have not seen that movie, what are you doing with yourself? Go see it. It's so good. Well, there's only 2 episodes left in this season, and they have set it up for a fantastic finish, with the butterflies coming, invading Earth, taking over the police's body and the inmates, and setting up White Dragon. Finally, him getting his in the costume. Seeing from the preview, you actually see him doing his thing. He looks cool. I can't wait to see how they finish these last 2 episodes. I feel like it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be fun. It's going to be emotional at times. It's going to be funny. It's just going to be such a great final 2 episodes. And I hope we get a Peacemaker season 2. I'd love to see that confirmed somewhere, maybe the next couple weeks. But Dylan, did you get a chance to see episode 6? What did you think of it? What are you thinking of Peacemaker so far? Got to know your thoughts.
Man, Peacemaker is such a great show, isn't it? Like, James Gunn did something with these characters from Suicide Squad, put John Cena, of all people, into a character, and he stole the show in Suicide Squad somehow. And then he got his own show, and the show is doing well. Like we reported on last week, Peacemaker is more in demand than Book of Boba Fett, which is absolutely nuts because Peacemaker is like a D tier comic book character in DC, like 100%. And then you have Boba Fett and the man, and like Boba Fett, who's a legacy character from one of the biggest IP franchises of all time, you know? So that's just nuts to think about, that character is more in demand than one of the biggest IP franchises of all time. But it really goes to show you how good of a director and like idealist James Gunn is, that he can create these stories and like just these environments and everything that really go well. The fact that it takes place in the DCEU is nuts because they make references to, obviously, to Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, all those. And it's crude and all this, so it's definitely not a kid's show, obviously, but it takes place in the same universe as all of the DC heroes we all know and love. So it's just so interesting that they can do all this and do all that. Episode 6 was great. One of my favorite scenes, obviously, was towards the beginning when Peacemaker John Cena went to the janitor's kid's classroom and talked with him about what he does, about how he apprehended Kite Man, and how the little girl who was wearing the Flash shirt asked if he met Flash, and he said, yeah, he was an insufferable dick bag or something. And it's just so crazy, like the show, man. We knew from the last few episodes that Mern, the head of their little task force, is a butterfly himself. We learned in this there were theories going into this episode that Mern was a bad butterfly. Nobody knew for sure, but he really put it on that he is a good butterfly, and that there are butterflies out there who just are trying to survive because their planet was I think their planet was destroyed due to like environmental catastrophes or something. And there's really the majority of them are really just trying to help, but there's a bad sect of them that are just trying to take over everybody. And so that's pretty much what they got to do. And the next episode said that they're going to go to a farm and try to kill the cow that's creating the butterflies' food, so they can try to kill them off. So that's pretty much, I think, where the finale of the show is heading towards. And then, like Chase said, we also get the is it red dragon or white dragon? I think it's white dragon, like Chase said. Um, we're getting him in his full comic accurate costume, which is gonna be nuts. He's going after Peacemaker, obviously, which is his son, because he's after he got out of jail, he said, "I'm gonna go kill my shithead son," which I have a feeling is not gonna happen. It's gonna probably be Peacemaker. Either what's probably gonna be is they're gonna get into a fight, and it's gonna happen where the butterflies are. White Dragon is going to get taken over by a butterfly, and then Peacemaker is going to blow his fucking head off. That's what I'm assuming is probably going to happen, and I'm pretty positive that's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, this show is great, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. I don't know if they have a second season ordered, or if we're going to get a second season, or whatever's going to happen. I think they are developing a spinoff for another character from Suicide Squad, which fingers crossed is TDK, the detachable kid, because we know for a fact that James Gunn said that TDK did survive in Suicide Squad, even though he like got shot up and got his arms blown off, I think, and everything. But we do know that TDK did survive the Suicide Squad, so I'm hoping either appears in the finale of this and gets his own spinoff, or they just announce a spinoff for him out of the blue, because I'd love to see Nathan Fillion in something again. He's one of my favorite actors.
And moving on to video game news, actually breaking news in video game news, Grand Theft Auto 6 is on the way. It has been an incredible long time coming, but Rockstar Games had today confirmed that it is working on Grand Theft Auto 6. In a message from Rockstar's website, the studio gave fans an idea of what is coming up in the pipeline next, following the long support that Grand Theft Auto 5 has received with like online and everything. We have known many of you have been asking us for a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series. With every new project we embark on, our goal is always to be significantly move beyond what we have previously delivered. And we are pleased to confirm that active development for the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series is well underway. I love the Grand Theft Auto franchise. I think it's so much fun, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Grand Theft Auto 6, where they go with it, and just with the new like PS5 and how it's going to look. I think it's going to be awesome. But they have just announced this, so not much of like details on how it's going to go, who's going to be in it, what they're going to do with it. Uh, I'm just excited to know Grand Theft Auto 6 is on the way. Dylan, I know you're a big fan of this franchise as well. What do you think of Grand Theft Auto 6 going to be coming down in a couple more years, probably?
GTA Grand Theft Auto was one of those franchises that I played a lot growing up. I think I started with Grand Theft Auto 3 and then moved on to Vice City and then, moved up. I didn't play 1 or 2 cuz I think those might have been Super Nintendo games. I can't remember, or Game Boy games, one of those two, but I know they were top down. And I'm not a huge fan of those kind of games, but when I was a kid, Vice City was my favorite. I know a lot of people have San Andreas as their favorite. I never saw the appeal personally, but that's just me personally. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited for Grand Theft Auto 6 because Grand Theft Auto 5 was an awesome game. I think the year it came out, it might have won Game of the Year, which rightfully so. Like, even 10 years later, it's about to get another re release on next gen consoles. So especially with next gen consoles, I'm so excited to see what they do with like the graphics and how they evolve the story, what characters they're going to use, where they're going to be. If they're going to be in a familiar location we know from past games, or if they're going to be in a completely new city, because we know of Los Santos, we know of San Andreas, we know of Liberty City, we know of Vice City, like we know of all those different places. So I don't know where they're going to go with Grand Theft Auto 6, but I'm super excited to see where they go, man.
And that is all the news topics we have for you today. I do have a fun video planned for you for the Batman. I think Dylan will like this as well. Kind of like similar to what we did with the Scream video. We're just going to do some rankings and a whole lot of other, excuse me, like surprises in store for that video. So if you're a Batman fan, you are not going to want to miss that video. But until next week, we will talk to you then.